Do I think that Zebec could hypothetically be one step closer towards a hypothetical partnership in regard to Ripple? Well, I'd like to lean towards maybe, and let me explain what I mean by this, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, this is purely my perspective. Now, here's the thing. Did you know that XRP was recently announced to be live on Solana? Here's the thing. Why does this even relate to Zebec? Well, it's because, first of all, Solana Ventures is a backer when it comes to Zebec, so that's number one. Number two, Simon, the CEO of Zebec, is going to be speaking allegedly as a keynote speaker at XRP Las Vegas, which I've mentioned in my previous video. But here's the thing. The CPO of Solana is going to be there as well, being a keynote speaker at that event, not to mention Brad Garlinghouse, which is the CEO of Ripple. He's also going to be, again, speaking at that event as a keynote speaker. That event is going to go on from April 30th to May 1st. So again, we got that out of the way, right? Now, number three, we do know that Simon, the CEO of Zebec, is planning to announce this quote-unquote major announcement at that event as well. And also, did you know that actually not too long ago, ZBCN was considered top 10 in terms of utility when it comes to Solana? You know, after all, Zebec does have an aspect of Solana. So maybe that might be another clue, who knows, but I just think it's pretty interesting. And then the second clue being that we've seen Zebec give hints here and there about maybe in regard to something related to Ripple. Why do I say this? Well, it's because in the roadmap not too long ago, which again I mentioned in my previous video, but it makes sense for this video, so I wanted to mention it. Again, we've seen in the roadmap not too long ago, they put a picture of the logo of Stellar and also the logo of XRP. So I think these clues right here, they're pretty interesting to me. Now, I can't speak on anyone's behalf, but this is my perspective. Kind of the timing of it seems a little bit coincidental, or maybe not. Maybe did they have this planned already? So I really find this interesting. Again, when I take a look at Zebec, does it really need a Ripple partnership? Well, I don't think it really needs it per se, but it would be absolutely awesome if it could do that, because Stellar, which of course is the second most popular project within the global trade and finance space, within this space, Zebec already had a partnership with that. The only next logical step isn't with XDC, isn't with Onyx, it's not with XPR, it's not with Swiftcoin, even though that'd be cool. But I think the next logical step, or the next leg up, if that were to maybe even happen, would be a Ripple partnership. It would only make sense. They already did one with the number 2, so if they did one with the number 1, it would just make sense, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see. Now, is Zebec really going to do this, though? I mean, again, I have no idea. I can't control anything, but I'm kind of taking a look at the clues, that's all. However, at the same time, people sometimes like to tell me, well, if they could do that, would it make Zebec more popular than XDC? Now, XDC being arguably, you know, top 5 within this space as of right now in terms of popularity in the context of global trade and finance, and it's way more popular than Zebec, of course. I'm totally aware of that. Now, people like to say, would a Ripple partnership make Zebec more popular than XDC? Well, I think in the immediate sense, probably not, because if I take a look at XDC, it's just been a lot more popular for a longer time than ZBCN. Not to mention, if I take a look at it, XDC just has a pretty big market cap. Like, for instance, the market cap is clearly over 2 times more. But at the same time, though, ZBCN just being slightly over 2 times lower than XDC in terms of market cap, even as of right now, that would have been something that would have seemed so unbelievable just a couple years ago. It really would, because a lot of people thought, what is Zebec? Who cares about that? It can come nowhere close to XDC. I had some friends talk about that in the past. But as of right now, sure, XDC hasn't been doing the best, but it's still slightly over 2 times more than ZBCN in terms of market cap, but that's still a pretty impressive thing if we consider just how far Zebec has come, despite it not being the best as of right now. But still, even despite that, I don't think it really matters, right? If Zebec never overtakes XDC, at least in my opinion, personally for me, because clearly, if I take a look at ZBCN, at one point in terms of market cap, it was above 500 million last year. Now, that wouldn't even be as much as XDC's current market cap, but even if ZBCN could just return to that, I would already be very happy personally for me, because I have been dollar cost averaging into ZBCN since below a 100 million market cap. Now, I also dollar cost average at higher points, but still, I started over a year ago. As of right now, I'm still dollar cost averaging. But here's the thing. I don't think Zebec needs to ever overtake XDC in order to be considered hypothetically pretty cool, at least for me. So when people like to say, well, if let's say they did a Ripple partnership and it didn't make it more popular than XDC, that means it's a failure. But I don't agree with that, because did anyone think that Zebec was a failure at around a 500 million market cap last year? At least I didn't, and that didn't overtake XDC, right? So I don't think it needs to. Now, at the same time, though, would it be awesome if Zebec did overtake XDC? I would think so. I think that would be pretty cool, but it's not necessary, personally for me, in my opinion. But the thing is this. ZBCN reached over a 500 million market cap last year without a stellar partnership, and also on top of that, it also did it without having yet achieved ISO 20022 compliance. So if it was able to do that back then, what could it do moving forward? Especially if, let's say, there is a Ripple partnership, hypothetically speaking. We'll wait and see if that could even happen, though. But I'm just saying, if it maybe exceeded what it did back then in terms of market cap, if the market sentiment were to change and return back to that point, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. Just because if Zebec was able to do that back then, imagine what could it do if, let's say, now that the fundamentals are a lot better, and yet maybe if, let's say, the market sentiment were to just go back to where it was. I'm a little bit curious, because my analogy is this. If someone is able to win a marathon using Timberland boots, what could they do if, let's say, they actually used running shoes? That's kind of my mindset. I think Zebec reaching around a 500 million market cap last year, it's kind of like running using Timberland boots. I don't know if it's really made for that, right? That's just kind of my mindset. So imagine what would happen if it's actually using running shoes. That's my mindset. The reason why I think Zebec was kind of using Timberland boots last year to run a marathon, metaphorically speaking, is because, again, it was able to do that literally without much going on for it fundamentally. Now, granted, though, Zebec did, of course, already have this focus when it comes to global trading finance. Of course, that was already there. It already had backers like Circle and as well as Solana Ventures. It was already all there, but the thing is, it just didn't have much going on for it fundamentally, yet it was able to reach that. So again, I felt like Zebec last year was kind of running a marathon using Timberland boots. So what could it do now that it has actual running shoes? That's kind of my mindset. But the thing is this, the training has been done. The marathon shoes are there, or should I say the running shoes? What am I talking about? Yeah, but besides that, again, the running shoes are there. The training has been done in terms of quote unquote improving the fundamentals. But what is the missing hypothetical ingredient? It's the market sentiment changing. In this case, it's the marathon. Again, the training has been done, the shoes are there, but there's no marathon yet. So what happens if it actually runs that marathon? But Zebec hasn't had that chance yet because the market sentiment hasn't really changed in a massive way. Now, granted, though, we've seen like Bitcoin and Ethereum have a pretty good recovery, but we haven't really seen it trickle down to like a Zebec archetype, right? Where it's a project that has a market cap that is, again, slightly below 300 million. It really hasn't kind of trickled down to that yet in a massive way. So I feel like the marathon hasn't been there yet to run, if that makes sense. But this is purely my perspective. But if anything, to maybe see a market sentiment changing, it requires me waiting. But you know what? I'll wait, because I feel like if the fundamentals are already there, then I don't mind waiting. That's personally the way I take a look at it. I mean, I didn't mind waiting before, so what, I suddenly mind right now? No, sir. That's not how I operate, basically. If I'm willing to wait, I'll wait. That's my mindset. Do I know how long I'm going to have to wait? No, but the thing is this, if I'm waiting for a project that the fundamentals aren't really there and the team doesn't really care, that's a lot more tough, in my opinion, for me to do that, as opposed to me believing in a project that the fundamentals are already there, yet the only missing ingredient is a hypothetical change in market sentiment. I feel like that's easier for me because the prerequisites are there in terms of the fundamentals and the team. So if the market sentiment were to change, if it went along with the ride, it wouldn't surprise me. As opposed to if the market sentiment were to change, yet the team and the project, it's not fundamentally sound yet, then that's a little bit more tough for me. So again, if a project is already sound fundamentally and all I have to do is wait, yeah, I'm not concerned. But this is just personally my perspective. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. So I just want to say, again, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you all have a very nice day. I'm out. Peace. Bye.